The art of the Philippines is reflective of the diversity, richness, and uniqueness of Filipino culture. It began during the prehistoric era, which is signified by the various paintings and artworks found on the walls of the caves discovered throughout the region. However, Filipino art, as we know today, began with colonization of the region by Spain in the early 16th century. The Spanish introduced Christianity to Philippines, and art of the period was majorly influenced by religion. It thus reflects the religious propaganda through the country. Change was seen in the early 19th century when native people of the Philippines educated themselves. This change in education was also reflected in the art produced during that time. Among other things, there was a shift in focus from the church to the native culture of the country, which included local landscapes, native fashion, jewelry, and furniture. Another major change in Filipino art came during and after the Second World War. For many artists, the focus shifted from the native culture to the effects of the war. Painters started depicting battle scenes, death, and the resulting suffering. Artists from the Philippines have continued to contribute to contemporary art of the world while experimenting with modern ways of expression. Here are the 10 most famous Filipino artists. Number 10, Pacita Abad. Among other things, Pacita Abad is renowned for her eccentric use of color in her paintings. Some other unique features of her paintings included underwater scenes, along with wild animals and tropical flowers. She managed to highlight the constant changes and developments going on in the world around her. Her paintings are a reflection of her travels all over the world. She traveled over 80 countries around the world. Her travels and her experiences with different people and cultures from various parts of the world had a major influence on her style of painting. In 1970s and 1980s, her work was majorly inspired by painters like Ben Shahn, which led her to create paintings which inspired political and social thought. Number 9. Hernando R. Ocampo. A self-taught artist, Hernando Ruiz Ocampo majorly followed modernist traditions throughout his art career and highlighted his work by using extremely bold color palettes. His work was also inspired by science fiction writing and the Filipino landscape, which he portrayed by using biomorphic shapes. As a radical modernist artist, Ocampo was part of a group founded by Victorio Edades, which was known as the Saturday Group of Artists or Taza de Oro Group. His work portrayed the extremely harsh realities of the world he lived in. Moreover, through his paintings, he depicted the colossal impact of the Second World War. Towards the second half of his artistic career, he moved on to abstract forms of painting. He was credited for the invention of an abstract form which used the native flora and fauna of the Philippines and spatial elements, such as the sun and the stars, to portray the abstract forms of life. Number 8. Napoleon Abueva. One of the most famous Filipino sculptors, Napoleon Veloso Abueva, was one of the youngest recipients of the National Artist for Sculpture title in the year 1976. Among other things, Abueva is known as the father of modern Philippine sculpture. He is credited for shaping the art of sculpture in his country. Abueva used numerous types of material to create sculpture masterpieces, including marble, bronze, iron, stainless steel, hardwood, cement, adobe, coral, and alabaster. Among one of his early innovation in his field was buoyant sculpture, which according to him was something to be viewed from the surface of a pool. Number 7. Ang Kiew Kok. A man of Chinese descent, Ang Kiew Kok is most famous for his expressive artwork. Almost all his paintings have one thing in common, an extremely disturbing subject matter. With a dynamic profile, his paintings have been known to depict death, crucifixions, and tortured and screaming figurines, which portray the dull and bleak reality of life. Kiew Kok was a critically as well as commercially successful painter. The decade of 1970s, when Philippines was under martial law, was the time when he made some of his extremely grueling paintings. Apart from his subject matter, Kiew Kok is renowned for his extremely unique style of painting, which was a mixture of Cubism, Expressionism, and Surrealism. Number 6. Victorio Edades. Victorio Edades was a revolutionary artist who was the leader of the 13 Moderns, a group of artists who believed and promoted modernism in artwork. A travelling exhibition from the New York Armory Hall was what inspired Edades to follow and appreciate modern art. Through the exhibition, he got inspired by some of the modern European artists, including Gauguin, Picasso, and Matisse. Edades believed that modernism allowed artists to experiment with art and encouraged artistic expression and freedom. However, his ideas of modern art were not easily accepted in the Philippines. He had to struggle to bring a change in the conventions of domestic art in his nation. Nonetheless, his contribution was recognized, and he was bestowed with the honor of National Artists of the Philippines in Visual Arts, Painting, in 1976. Number 5. Vicente Manansala. Vicente Manansala was a prodigious artist who is most commonly known for his cubist paintings, prints, and illustration. He was a member of the 13 Moderns. As a neo-realist, he became one of the few artists who were responsible for the modernist movement in the country. Primarily, his work was focused on the issues and the problems of the world. Along with this, the Second World War had a great impact on his paintings. National culture, social environment, identity, and native sensibility became the epicenter of his works. Along with this, he also worked on some abstract pieces, but his main focus remained on using art as a social commentary. His work had an immense influence on the next generation of painters, which included Manuel Baldemar and Angelito Antonio. Number 4. Benedicto Cabrera. Benedicto Reyes Cabrera is regarded as the best-selling painter of his generation of Filipino artists. While studying at the University of Philippines, he explored various forms of art which included printmaking and photography. He eventually established his own unique form of painting. Cabrera's work is essentially figurative, and he uses fabrics and patterns to bring to life the figures in his paintings. His work is majorly focused on women, but sometimes also depicts men. His first exhibition of paintings was held in Mabini in the year 1965. After that, he has had exhibitions in New York, London, Paris, and in various other cities. Cabrera is perhaps the most famous living artist in the Philippines. Number 3. Guillermo Tolentino. Guillermo Estrella Tolentino is most famous for his work, the Bonifacio Monument, which became the symbol of the freedom struggle of the Philippines. He was said to be a product of the Filipino arts revival period of the early and mid-20th century. He was also credited for making the statues of President Quezon and various other life-size busts and marble statues of important figures in the history of Philippines. Tolentino designed the seal of the Republic of the Philippines and has also been recognized for designing the gold and the bronze medal for the Ramon Magsaysay Award. He won the UNESCO Cultural Award in Sculpture in 1959 and the Presidential Medal of Merit in 1970. Number 2. Juan Luna. Juan Luna de San Pedro y Novicio Ancheta, who was more commonly known as Juan Luna, is regarded as one of the first internationally renowned Filipino artists. Luna was one of the first recognized painter and artist in the Philippines. His work was focused on the European academics of his time and therefore included a lot of depiction of historical and literary scenes. Along with this, there was an underlining of political and social commentary in his works, which is highlighted by a slight touch of romanticism. Theatrical scenes and dramatic poses were also on the forefront of Luna's work. His paintings are generally pronounced conspicuous and vigorous. Number 1. Fernando Amorsolo. Fernando Amorsolo is most famous for his mastery over playing with light. Thus, his most well-known style and technique of painting includes illuminated landscapes, which were used to portray the culture, history, and the native life of Filipinos. Amorsolo is credited for inventing the backlighting technique, which he used to highlight the natural light in his paintings. This technique became his trademark and is considered one of his greatest contributions to the Filipino painting culture. During and after the Second World War, his primary style of painting shifted from landscapes to portraying the gruesome nature of war and its devastating effects on the lives of Filipino people. Some of his awards and achievements include a gold medal by UNESCO National Commission in 1959 and the Republic Cultural Heritage Award in 1963. For more information, kindly visit the link in the description. Thanks for watching and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.